Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the New England Racing Show, Manchester, New Hampshire, Channel 23, and also on YouTube. And like us on Facebook, and you'll get it automatically on your Facebook page. And I'm your host, Bill Sturgis. Well, this past Sunday we took a ride to Jaffrey, New Hampshire, and watched the Jaffrey Ice Racing Association held their first race of the season. I know it seems like it's been really cold, but we had that January thaw and they weren't able to race. But the past week was really cold, and they finally got underway. And speaking of cold, that was really cold Sunday. We went up there, and it was a high of 11 degrees. The wind was howling. The sun was out. Not that that mattered, because it didn't warm you up, and we're standing on the lake. Frozen lake. But I'll tell you, any of you think you're hardcore racers, you're not hardcore racers, because these people are bring new definition to the term hardcore racers. They were out there like it was 70 degrees. I was amazed, but I guess it's their first race of the season. They were all excited, and we were able to stand it for a few hours and watch the races. They plow a track on the Lake Kentucky, and it's about a half-mile oval. And they get going. The club president, Steve Denman, said that they get going about 110 on the back straightaway, and I believe it. It was quite a sight to see. I'm glad I went. And there was a lot of different, is a completely different type of racing. So let's roll the tape and we'll comment as we go along. There's the track. You can hear the wind whistling by the camera. They had about 12 to 15 cars total with 3 different divisions. One of the divisions, 2 of the divisions used pretty much the same cars. There's just different drivers, the experienced drivers and the beginners. And here was the heats. The yellow car kind of looks like an old Super, but it was built specifically for the ice. As of all of these cars that we saw were, somebody spun out there, so they threw the yellow in the first lap. But that's Steve Denman in the yellow car. I think the ice has to be about 11, 12 inches thick to race. Here's another one of the modifieds, they call it. They have, those aren't just regular chains, they have pointed points near the top, and then the front wheels, they actually have bolts going into the tread, and sticking out, the bolts come to a point, and they have a nut with a washer holding it in there. And that's a 350 Chevy built engine, and Steve said it puts out, it dynoed at 550 horsepower. And this is the yellow one that we saw out there on the track. That's Steve Denman and his daughter are refueling it right now. Very sophisticated cars. I mean, they're built for the ice, and it's got everything that a asphalt car would have. The fire protection system. Any of you think that it's just, you know, a bunch of old junkers, think again. These were really nice cars. The more we looked at them, the more we realized that. That's Steve's daughter.
Do these burn gas or methanol?
Gas.
Gas?
VP fuel.
What kind?
VP C12.
VP crate fuel?
No, this isn't a crate. This is C12 that we're putting in there.
Oh, okay. That's 110 octane?
Yes.
Good. And what kind of engine do you have?
I got a high compression 350 Chevy in it.
A built motor?
Oh yeah, it's built motor. My daughter and I built it about 10 years ago. We have 12.5 valves in there. We got a good intake. Got a good carburetor on there. And it goes pretty good.
How many horsepower do you think?
Oh, well, the 79 dynoed out at 550 horse, and we keep right up to them, so I guess it's around there. I haven't had it on the dyno, but
Okay.
I want to borrow that engine for our Super. 350 putting out 550 horse is pretty good. They were all covered up, so you couldn't really check out the engines. And if you notice, they had a little plexiglass windshield with a windshield wiper too, which you need out there. Here's the one that puts out 550 horse. Really cool looking car. We talked to this gentleman after we thought maybe that was an old coupe that used to race asphalt, but no, he built it specifically for the ice. The old 20 modified here in the middle. That's the wind whipping across the lake. Here we go. Not much is going to keep up with that 550 horsepower modified. It's almost like driving the dirt, the way they go sideways around there. There's the flag man right around there. Well, that was some of the heats. And these were the 4-cylinder division. They may race on asphalt during the year. We didn't get a chance to talk to any of those drivers. But they're front-wheel drive cars, so they didn't leave quite as much of a rooster tail as the modifieds did. Those look just like some of the cars that race at Lee. This is the pits. It's actually the lake frozen over. They sounded pretty good. They could tell they had pretty wild cams in them to be putting out that much power. This one looks sort of like a mud bus that would run at Bear Ridge. This one had real skinny tires and some sort of chain on the front wheels rather than the studs. Most of these had 350 Chevys. That one had the folding hood that opens on one side. If you look in the cockpit, you can see all the snow. Another thing you got to deal with is having your car full of snow. And that one had studs on the back tires instead of the chains. I think this car, the 30, I think that one of the cars flipped. It looked like it might have been that one. The top was caved in a little bit. Why there's such a bulge in the hood, if it was carbureted or injected or what. Now it turns out he had a problem with one of his chains broke and broke the brake line, so he was on the trailer pretty early before the features even started. Right there you can see behind the shock the brake line hanging to the right of the shock. It got snapped off. So unfortunately his day ended early, but that was a nice looking car. And this car here is a Ford 351 Windsor.
I know it. I've been following. I've been coming for almost not that many, but now Mikey wants to build one. I'm really looking forward to it.
The engine sat back quite a ways.
How you doing?
My dirt car. What's that? go take a look.
No one's building them anymore, you know, like this one here.
Yeah, you have to start out the 4-cylinder. He's only 17.
Oh.
Yeah, I got it on something. I'm gonna go take a look at that one. Thanks a lot. Good luck out there.
What's the engine in this?
What's that?
What's the engine?
It's a Ford 351.
A Ford 351?
Windsor motor, yes.
Notice the 3 windshield wipers.
Oh, 400. It's a different car though. The car is a lot older.
Was this car ever a asphalt car?
No, always ice.
Always
49,
ice.
49 years.
49 years?
Go over there. Go ahead. Sure.
And that's something he's been racing his car for 49 years. I don't know if he has, but somebody has. It's a really neat car. It's got a shield over the radiator, coil over front springs, and he's got the chains on the front tires running right down the middle. There's the flag man in the green jacket. They had a bunch of plow trucks there. In between the races, they go out and replow the track a little bit, clean it up. That was pretty interesting. Instead of sweeping the dirt off, you get out and plow the track. I mean, it was just so cold that day. But hopefully we'll get to get out there again and see some more ice racing. Depending on the weather, we'll see how many weeks they have left. Pick a day when it's not 11 degrees out, minus 20 wind chill. Now Steve had a problem with his car. As usual, you don't know if it's fuel or electrical because it was breaking down. So I don't know if they got it sorted out before the end of the day, but they had to pull off again. And that left the couple of the old coupes out there. I can't imagine seeing 20 of these cars out there at once. That would be pretty wild. think that's the black '03 that had the big hood on it, the 302. And obviously he's got this track dialed in pretty good. But it sounded like he was breaking down as he went around. And he's still leading the race. Keeping the RPMs up. Red flag. I guess that's their caution, is a red flag. This was pretty good. They had a couple of cars really battling it out. There they are, right next to each other. And I think that was it. So it was quite an experience. There's some nice race cars there, and too bad the season's kind of short for those guys, especially this year where you didn't have the weather that you hoped for as far as cold, because it was cold and then warm. But anyway, it was an interesting day, and we'd like to do it again. Coming up a week from this, not this weekend, the next weekend, Friday, February 7th and Saturday, February 8th, is the Racers Expo, put on by Bobby Seymour, the Race Depot, in the Royal Plaza Hotel in Marlborough, Mass. And the big part of that, besides the show, is Saturday night, February 8th at 6:30, is their kart clash, go-kart racing at F1 Boston, which is actually in Braintree. They have 5 weight classes, so if you're a large person, you'll race against other large persons, so it evens things out. They're going to have 70 drivers. About 50 have already signed up, so Bobby said there's still about 20 spaces left. If you want to sign up, go on to the Racers Expo website, and you can sign up there or call Bob Seymour at the Race Depot in Marlboro. Also, coming up March 1st is a big deal. Another kart race, the Dave Thomas DT 100. All proceeds going to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which we all know about. And that's going to be March 1st at the Maine Indoor Karting at Scarborough, Maine. All the spaces are taken up. In fact, they have a big waiting list. This is such a big deal. They have Burt Myers from the show Madhouse. Races down at Bowman Gray, so that'll guarantee a lot of action there if he races like he does down there. He'll probably get kicked out. They have a lot of big names in there. And there is one space left, and you've got to enter a raffle to get in. Tickets are $6 for $5. All proceeds go to Make-A-Wish Foundation. So if you want to try to get, win the raffle to get in there and race against these people, I wouldn't just buy $5. I'd buy a couple of $100 worth of tickets because it goes to a good cause for sure, and you'll have a good chance of getting in. So I believe the cutoff date for the raffle is February 15th. You'll have to go on Dave Thomas Jr.'s Facebook page, and he has all the information there. You can contact him, message him, and get all the information. But that's how you get in. That's the only way left. And of course, I read in Area Auto where down south someone's starting a new modified series. I don't know if they're trying to compete with the Southern Wheeling Tour, the Southern Modified NASCAR Tour, but from what I read, they're not going to have any conflicting dates, so the Southern Tour guys will be able to race with them. And I think it's a good thing. I read a lot about up here how the NASCAR modified tour is ticking off a lot of the drivers, and they're dictating what's going to happen, and a lot of the drivers aren't very happy about it, and the expenses are just way out of hand. So we'll see what happens up here, but hopefully NASCAR will start listening to the drivers. There's a lot of people that just can't afford to do it anymore. You see the Len Bowler number 3 car scaling back. Eddie Flemke Jr., same thing, and he made some comments about how NASCAR doesn't listen to the racers, and we all know how that goes. No matter where we race, they don't listen to us. They tell us what we're going to do, unfortunately. But I just hope you'll go on Dave Thomas's website and help out the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.